Hey, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooke. Thank you for joining today, as the cat is about to jump up here. Welcome back to my channel. This is a channel where I talk about houseplants and I do DIYs. And today we are going to be doing a refresh of my office. So I am standing in my office. This is where I film all my videos, work, and house a lot of my plants, if not most of them. And so it's getting a little cluttered, and I really need to move some things around up here on this top shelf and just, I don't know, overall try to move some plants around to better suit their needs. I have a lot of plants. I have well over 100, and there are some in my bedroom that I have on a shelving unit that probably need to be moved into here. So this is a room like at the front of our home that I actually turn the vent off in here so the air doesn't come in here. So it's about 78 degrees right now. Usually I was going to say 80. It's hit 80 a lot. Especially because we are in Texas, it's summertime, it's very hot outside, and my plants really enjoy it in here and do well. And this is where I have a lot of my grow lights, as you can see. This is one that needs to be put back up, but I'm going to try and move some of the ones in my bedroom in here and see if they have a better time. One of the main plants being my queen anthurium. It is beautiful and it is growing. However, every new leaf that it pushes out, the old ones die off. And so I am hoping to stop that cycle because I potted it into a self-watering planter prior to this new leaf forming. And I'm really hoping that after that, it kind of just acclimates, and maybe moving it in here, it will be even happier because they do need a higher humidity. This was an imported plant. I didn't import it, but I purchased it from a shop who did. Now I have another anthurium queen that is actually in my kitchen, like hanging on the side of my fridge. And it is not imported. It's like a tissue culture, I believe. And it's doing really well. And so I hope that this older one, because they're two different sizes and I'll show them later. I hope that the older one, the actual imported one, just does better. It just, comes into its own and survives, because currently it's not doing awesome. Like it's alive, but not thriving by any means. That's why I purchased another one, because I really love the plant and I want to grow it well and to its full capacity, but I don't know about that original one. So I have a lot of plants in here. I also have a greenhouse little shelving unit that sits on this side right here, and I need to move around some plants in there because my fan broke. So my fan's been out for like a week, and that's probably why it's also so high in here, and it's been high temperatures because it's not been going. So I need to look at that because a lot of the plants in here are sagging, and again, that's due to airflow, and it's just too hot and no moisture. So we're going to be looking at that today and just switching some things around. So I'll show my plant setups because I feel like I haven't shown them in a while, especially the one in my bedroom. I've definitely not been in there in a while. And yeah, that's what we're doing today. So if you enjoy plant videos, plant DIYs, make sure to subscribe to this channel. That way you can be up to date on all of my latest videos. And if you are a recurring viewer, thank you so much for coming back and watching another video. We're going to start in here by taking some of these plants off the top. I need to clean these shelvings as well, because I haven't cleaned them in quite some time. And there are plants up here that I just don't want anymore, and I need to move outside. They're actually cactus, and my son loves cacti, and they're his technically. However, he's 6, and I don't prefer cactus, and I feel like I'm going to poke myself every time I'm up here watering my plants, specifically my burley marks, because there's a fairy tale cactus, and I'll show it, and it's very pokey and dangerous. The other one being this one right here. It's an Optunia, I think. I'm not really sure. It's like a variegated one. It's very beautiful. I just don't need cactus. And so I'm thinking about just putting it outside and letting it grow out there. I also see that there are a ton of spider webs on it, and I'm really praying it's not spider mites. I'm watching to see if I see anything move. I don't see anything moving, but I have a feeling that this guy has spider mites. Good thing I got the Jackson bug proof. This was not sponsored or set up, but I do have this because I was going to spray my plants anyways, and I'm going to definitely do that. But I use this for spider mites, thrips. Actually, is this for spider mites? Yes, it is for spider mites. Some of them say no, not spider mites, like it doesn't affect them. Spider mites are very hardy and hard to get rid of because they're just like, I don't know what it is. They have an immunity to something. Definitely systematic granules don't work on spider mites. If you use systematic products like that, they're not going to work. It says it on the bottle. They just multiply faster, I believe, if you use systematic granules like that. They grow stronger and just overcome it. But this I have used on all of my plants, and I use it for every pest. Again, I've not really dealt with spider mites, to be fairly honest. I only deal with thrips, and thrips are pretty easy to eradicate. They're a pain, and they can cause a lot of damage if you're not paying attention, but I haven't had to deal with them much. So this is even more of a reason to put it outside, because I definitely don't want to deal with that, especially with all of my plant collection going on here. Now, spider mites transfer by the touching of leaves, so they're not going to fly around like thrips are, which is great news. They're just a pain to get rid of, and I'm really hoping they didn't touch my philodendron right here, which is a Patriciae, because I just got it and I've been waiting for that plant, and my Syngonium albo is over here. And so I'm going to set this plant outside for now. Okay, well, what a way to start a video. So let's check on my philodendron Patriciae here. Oh, so this is my philodendron Patriciae. It has a new leaf right there. I purchased this from Succulents Empire in Florida, in Orlando. When I was there on vacation, it's a really great shop. I have a video haul on that as well, but I don't see any spider webs on this, but I am for sure going to spray it because I don't want them to pop up randomly, because they do take a minute to be seen, and when they are seen, it's too late almost. So we're going to spray them down. I'm also going to check my Syngonium albo right here. Need to cut this leaf right here. Don't see anything on it. Spider mite webbing, I wish I would have now gotten a close up of that, but spider mite webbing is very, very fine. There is a difference, and you can tell a difference between that and spider webs, like just normal spider webs. Normal spider webs are very thick or thicker, and they have like a pattern, I feel like, versus spider mite webs, they're just everywhere, and they're extremely thin, almost like fishing wire, like just clear. You can't really see them unless you look at a perfect light, and they're everywhere. They cover like just a whole section of it, and they're between the leaves and pretty much just take over the entire plant. And just like any other pest, they suck out the chlorophyll. And so it will slowly kill your plant. But I don't see anything on this. And I also don't see spider mite damage. So spider mite damage looks different than thrips. Thrips really does suck all of the chlorophyll out, and you can tell in the green patches of your plant, there will be none left. It's like a see-through or a copper tone to your plant's leaves. Now, spider mites, they're going to have, in my experience and what I've seen, they're going to have a lot of yellowing spots like all over the leaves, like little dots. Just have attacked your leaf, and that is a sign of spider mites. But I don't see any like yellowing spots like that. Like this down here, this is a dying leaf. This was an all white leaf. That's why it's all yellow. This is also a yellowing leaf. See how it's like, you can tell in the sides and it's fully yellow. It's not just one spot or just splotches. It's dying off as well. Those are the two oldest leaves down here of this one vine here. And so that's completely normal. But I do not see any other spider mite. I don't see actual spider mite damage on any of the leaves. You can definitely tell on the new leaves too, because that's what they like to attack the most, is the fresh leaf. But I don't see anything. This is the newest leaf, and it's really pretty. And there's a new leaf emerging right there. They will also stunt the growth of your plant. So if you see deformed leaves coming out, or they are getting stuck a lot, I would definitely check for a pest. Could be a watering issue. However, it's very likely that it's spider mites. And that's how I know it was spider mites on my Melanochrysum. So that's the only plant that I have gotten spider mites on. And it is known for being a spider mite magnet. But I noticed that all of the new foliage coming out was deformed and stuck and would never grow properly. And I looked at it and looked at a soil level and took a flashlight to it, saw all the spider webs in there. And so it was spider mites killing them all off. But I don't see anything on this plant. Again, I will for sure be spraying it down, but nothing to be seen there. And I'm kind of just going to keep them in the same area. I'm not going to put them by my other plants. And really, that is the great thing about spider mites is they tend to just stick to one plant if you have them pretty well separated. Now, if you had a bunch of plants together and they were all touching, that would be a bummer because it would be a problem. And again, they transfer by the touching of the leaves. So is a bummer, but not the end of the world since it's just the cactus. And I don't see anything on this ZZ plant. Usually the ZZs are extremely hardy. I've had this since 2019 or 20, and this just keeps, I just keep it in this pot and it's still going. Looks a little bit sad because I don't pay much attention to it and I water it honestly probably every 3 months. So they do have rhizomes, which store water, sorry. And they are like a cactus where they do not need to be watered all the time. Not a weekly watering schedule, that's for sure. They just store it all in their stems right here and in the rhizomes underneath the soil, and they could be good for weeks. So definitely a great plant if you are a forgetful waterer. Now, what else do I have? I have this pretty Tillandsia that just finished blooming about a week ago, actually. They're all slowly dying off, but I don't see any webbing on that. That was down further away from where my cactus was sitting, which I guess I can transfer. Yeah, there you go. So usually I have a Sansi light up here, and I have a Stanleyana albo, which I will check. It's in my sink. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think I did see spider webs on that one. That one was sitting right next to the cactus, and it was probably touching it. So I have it in my sink. I've already sprayed it down with water. It was a bigger web though, and so it made me think that it was a spider. But now I'm going to go back and check it because it very well could have been spider mites. So then up here I have some propagations of my jewel orchid that I just took very recently and stuck in perlite, trying to propagate them. So it's just kind of a loner. Tempting to not let these touch. Then over here I have my burley marks variegated. So there is the plant there. Hold on one second. Okay, anyways. So this is a variegated burley marks. This is a big mother plant. This is this is the original plant that I actually had. First, that made me fall in love with the burley marks. Sorry, that leaf was stuck. And I don't know if it needs to be watered or repotted. It needs to be repotted. This is a fast grower. I mean, it's constantly needing repotted. And they are just such a great plant, but I can definitely tell it needs to be watered because they're all drooping and I can see roots forming right here at the bottom. I did repot this earlier this year into this bigger pot. This started off in a 2-inch pot and it has now grown into a 6-inch pot. And so honestly, it probably just needs to be potted up with that one at this rate because this is a massive pot. And I repotted it into this. It wasn't a bigger pot when I purchased it. Obviously, it's a lot larger plant, but not quite that big. But I knew it would just grow so fast. And I didn't want to constantly repot it like I am this one since it is so large. So I just went ahead and potted it up in a large pot. And it's been doing really well. It's a super easy to care for plant and a great variegation. The only thing I'll say on it is the variegation like this, you can see it turning white here. It is not a pest. It's not an issue with the plant. It actually just reverts. Not reverts, but this lime chartreuse right here turns to this white. And so I did confirm with the person that I purchased this from who has like a mother plant. And they said, yes, it does that. It's part of the variegation. All of that chartreuse green will eventually turn to the cream. No rhyme intended, but like this leaf right here is all chartreuse. This is all green, what the regular like everyday unvariegated form is, and I do have an unvariegated version as well, and that is part of what I need to figure out where to put. But that is something to just note, that it will slowly start to turn. These are the oldest leaves, as you can see down here. This leaf right here is the oldest leaf. So just a note on this, it is a beautiful plant and I really do love it. But interesting to know. Okay, where am I going to put this at? I need to move some of this stuff down because I really do need to clean up here. It is very dirty. And I can also tell that it's not spider mites because this is what the cactus was sitting in. Or I can also tell it's spider mites because this is what the cactus was sitting in. And typically for a spider, they would probably web all around the pot as well, but it's not in here at all. It was just inside the soil and the leaves. So, or the cactus itself. I will say this cabinet, so this is an IKEA like Cala, whatever, and it's actually held up really well. I do have drainage trays underneath all of my plants, but it does not have any water damage. And I do water like this plant in here and a few others like on it. I'm sure that there's been plenty of water spilled, but it's held up pretty well. As the plant is completely covering my face. So I have a lot of larger plants in here that I'm thinking about moving into my bedroom, like my burley marks and my syngonium, because I know both of those can take a cooler situation like the rest of my house, because we do have air conditioning obviously going. And so it's about 76, I would say, or 75, probably 75. It's not 76. So sometimes I think the lowest is like 73 we'll go there. But I think that they can deal with that better. They're a little hardier. And my syngonium started in my bedroom. So I think I'm going to move that guy in there and then put maybe this one over here or something. And then my queen over in this corner. It has a Sansi 35-watt grow light over there. And so it gets a lot of ambient light too from my different grow lights going. And this is a north facing window. So not the best light. That's why I have a lot of grow lights in here. And yeah, I think I'm going to do that setup. And then just, again, move this guy into my bedroom and switch some plants around in there. Because I do have like 4 new plants here sitting on the desk that need to find a place. And I don't know what that place will be. So, you got my Tillandsia. This is the fairy cactus that I was talking about. It is extremely dangerous. And I'm going to place it outside. It has no spider webs in it. It does have one part of it that's dying off. Such a cool cactus, and I've seen these really large. So fascinating. They're just terrifying because of how pokey they are. So I put him to the other side so I don't touch it. And then I also have my string of hearts here, variegated, that needs to be watered pretty badly, actually. I'm going to go water that now. I also would like to put my string of hearts in my bedroom because I do have Barina grow lights in there. And they do need a lot of light. And so it was hanging right here and it did really well. But I feel like, I don't know, I just want to move it in there and so it can sit like under them. And it's not like hanging off of something because my cat kind of attacks it. I found them on the ground. So I'm going to probably move that one as well. He also attacks my air plants. So I have this other air plant here that I have to push back so he doesn't find it, but it's growing really well. This is my mother Monstera aurea. This is a really pretty leaf. I cut it all the way back. And here's the new growth point right there. Can you see that? No. There we go. Right here. It is... yeah, just this last vine. The other ones I have in pots of their own, and they're all doing really well. The top cutting has a new leaf forming, so that's really exciting. But it was a super easy to propagate plant. Like, it all took very well. I propagated them in perlite. No, actually, I propagated these in water at first. And then there was one that didn't take, and I propagated it in perlite. And I'm still waiting. But this needs to probably be repotted because I see a lot of roots coming out the bottom. And there's a lot of roots coming out the top as well. So probably need to look at that at a later date. I'm going to set it over here. Then this big beast, he needs to be watered. So this is my big variegated burley marks. Let me turn the light on. There we go. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's not. This is my big variegated burley marks. I really do love this plant. I think it's a super beautiful variegation and just fun and bubbly plant. I actually think I'm going to move this into my bedroom as well, maybe, or I might just stick it over on the other side and then put my queen, because I really want my queen in this corner. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll stick this guy onto the other side, move my syngonium into my bedroom. Maybe that's okay. This is my unvariegated burley marks. I just got this in Florida. I brought this back on a plane with me. I have chopped it up a lot because my goal was to propagate it, but this is the main plant and it's still really big. I actually need to water it because it's very droopy. You can definitely tell when these guys need to be watered because they will just flop over, but they can stand it and they will just bounce right back up. That plant, I have no idea where I'm going to put it. It's been sitting in this corner, like not even a corner, just been sitting at the corner of my rack, my clothing rack right here, and needs to be moved somewhere else. I would like to move it into the living room, but I have a lot of things in there right now, so probably not going to be in there. I don't really know where I'm going to move it, but we'll find a space for it. All right, so I think I'm ready to start trying to move some plants in here, but this is our bedroom setup currently. It is a mess. This was a lot nicer and put together. However, just over time, it gets crazy. Hold on. So yes, it gets really cluttered because I just continuously add plants and move things around or propagate. But this is the Queen Anthurium I was talking about. So you can see here, this is obviously dying off and needs to just probably be cut off. This is another leaf that just looks awful. Now this leaf looks like perfection. It does not have any like crinkling in it. This one was new leaf pushed out in my care. Look how crinkly it was. But this is like perfectly straight. Like it's a beautiful leaf. There is nothing wrong with it at all. And it's still growing. So it's probably going to be a little bit longer than that one, hopefully. But it is doing very well. You can tell because it has aerial roots coming out here. I had it on a moss pole at one point, but just took it off because it was... But I just took it off because it was pointless. There were no aerial roots growing at the time. And now there are quite a few. So I think that it might take to a pole, but I'm probably just going to leave it as is for right now. I have a philodendron splendid right here and a veitchii right here, king veitchii, which I'm confused because I think that's a new leaf actually. I honestly don't pay attention to much of the plants in here, but it definitely needs watered. Then I've got just other random stuff, propagations, Anthurium clarinevrum, which does really well sitting right here, and I'm not going to move it. Then I have just, I don't even know what down there, a lot of stuff, cat's food bowl. But over here in the corner, I have my monstera that used to be in my living room, and I chopped it all back. And then I have my fiddly fig, which I'm also not going to move. I have my esqueleto, which is doing really well. I need to cut off this leaf now that it finally has like two beautiful big and little leaves and two new leaves coming out, which is so nice. So completely cut that back and regrew it besides for this mother leaf right there. And then I have my Epiprimnum albo on this moss pole, and it is very large. I've repotted it recently, I feel like a couple months ago, but beautiful plant. That is going to stay there. I forgot to water it, so it started yellowing off. It's really disappointing. That leaf is going to die off, and so is this leaf and this leaf because I forgot to water it, and that is a bummer. All right, so I moved my queen in here, but I'm going to move it to this side actually. I just got done cleaning that all off. Go through the maze. I'm actually going to chop this leaf off, and this is my self-watering planter that I said. So this top pot is soil, like my soil is soil, and then it has a string that goes into this bottom pot which holds water. This is plastic, this is ceramic. Okay, hold on, I'm going to show something because this is crazy if I can do this one-handed. So the string is gross, but it has roots growing on the string. Do you see that? So that might need to be repotted, which is really unfortunate, but also really good news because the root system was really like great, but I noticed that it wasn't growing as well because I wasn't keeping up on the watering. So that's why I transferred it into a self-watering planter. But now that I see that, I think that the self-watering planter is really good. And I'm really hoping that, again, this new leaf here stays that nice. And especially moving it in here where it's a little bit hotter and it likes that temperature setting. So yeah, I might need to repot this here soon, but I'm going to chop off this leaf because it's just gross and it does not need to be there anymore. Okay, sad, but needed. This leaf was already really damaged when I got it, but it is definitely looking not great. Now, I think this is a bacteria as well. It is not spider mites. I have treated it for pests constantly, actually, and it's not that. And I have seen online that the queens are notorious for doing this, and it's again a bacterial problem or a watering problem. So that's again why I transferred it to the self-watering planter in hopes that it would eradicate that issue. We will see. So I'm just going to put it over there. I'm not going to let it touch any of my other plants just in case it is a bacterial infection that can be transferred. Okay, let's see if we can get this done in some peace and quiet. I am going to try and fix this light again because it constantly falls, which is not in a good setup by any means. We're in a rental, so there's only so much I can do. I also don't want to burn my leaf. So beautiful. I feel like it does need to be there. So again, I don't want it to sit too far or too close to that light and get burned, but technically that's where the light should sit. It just falls constantly because I'm using like no nails to hold it up there because I can't put anything in my ceiling, walls, etc. So I cheat by doing that, but raising it up gave it a lot more light for that space. One leaf wonders. Then what else am I going to put up there? Because I'm taking my cactus down from there. I'm not putting it back up. My little my little Tradescantia needs to go up there, back in the back away from my cat. What else should go up there? So my Burley Marks is going to go to the other side here, variegated. This is going to go away. Burley Marks is going to go here. This big guy. Beautiful. Now what? And then I have some pictures and random things I need to place back up here. Oh wait, books. Oh yeah, I have a Brazil philodendron that goes right here actually. Forgot, and some books. Polaroid. Set there. Again, the Sansi light will be up here, so it will have some light on that side. We need to figure out first what plants are going to go back up there. I think it'll do well. What else? Gotta sneeze. I'll set it right there where it was. And it's going to get less covered because it has, you know, by the queen, has no leaves. So I also recently got this Burley Mark Fantasy dog toys philodendron. I got this from Peta's Planters in Dallas. Look how big that leaf is. It's so beautiful. This was $30. So I need to figure out where this should go. I wanted it to go in my greenhouse right over there, but I don't think it's going to fit. I also got this dust, gold dust is what it's called. Yeah, gold dust variegated peperomia heart. Wait, no, I'm sorry. No, it's not called a heartleaf. Peperomia, but super beautiful. Look at that variegation. It's really showing up nicely. This plant I don't want anymore. This is easy, so I'm going to set it to the side and figure out what to do with it later. Oh man, 2 more plants that I got that I'm really bummed because a cat or a child killed off this leaf. Ugh, it was such a pretty variegation. But this is a Pothos giganteum, and then, or Epiprimnum, and then this is a philodendron white princess. Really upset about that one. I was actually going to put it on a moss pole because it is a climber, and my Epiprimnum albo, as you saw, was doing so well on a moss pole. As soon as I put that on a pole, it immediately started climbing and sizing up significantly. This is my baby Brazil that sits up there. I have a bigger Brazil as well. It's a really pretty plant, and if you like that yellow chartreuse cream variegation, it's a really good one. And it's super cost effective too. I do need to get my moss pole back from, or my Stanleyana elbow, but again, it was touching my cactus and it had the webs on it, and so I really don't want to put it up there right now, especially if it's going to be dealing with spider mites. I want to keep it away from all of my plants, so I might just figure out what else to do with it, like where else to put it, and the time that it's going to take me to solve that situation, because it's definitely not going to be solved today. And this is the other cactus I'm getting rid of. Oh, you know what? It actually might be spider webs on that, because there are spider webs on my Sansi clip light, and spider mites are not going to go on to anything other than like leaves. So that's exciting. Okay, good. We're good. I'm still going to spray them though. So you always want to put a grow light above your plant. You don't really want them on the sides of them unless you have like a large pole one that's facing like this direction. But your leaves are going, and you have like them growing in a moss bowl, makes sense. But if you have a full bushy plant like that, if you put a grow light to one side of it, it's just going to go to that side. And so I make sure that all my grow lights are on the coming from the top. That way it grows full, not just to one side. Okay, now that I know that that's not spider mites, and my Patriciae did not have spider mites on it, I'm going to scoot it closer. Now, I know that these pileas, are these a pilea? Yeah, it's a Pilea peperomia, but it's a variegated version. They like highlight. I do know that, and I think in order to keep the variegation, you want a highlight. And so I am thinking about just putting this in my bedroom underneath my Barina grow lights, like I have in here. And like as you saw, because it is a shorter plant, I think it would work really well in there. So I'm going to stick that in my bedroom. I actually have a cover pot for it right here. Boom. Now, the other plants problems. I don't know what I'm going to do with those. Okay, so I know where I'm going to put a few of my new plants. I'm going to stick them here. So that can go there. This white princess can go here. Should probably really spray those because I definitely did not. Typically what I do if I'm using Jack's Head Bug Brew, I spray it in the evening. So once all the grow lights go off, they are on from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Once they go off, I spray all of my plants and then I shut the door. That way I know that the pets aren't coming in, my kids are asleep, and the lights are off, so it will not burn them. Because if you either set your plants outside and spray this or have them underneath your grow lights, it can burn the leaves. And so I would recommend it if you are doing it during the day. Just keep it out of direct sun, keep it out from underneath your grow light for the time it takes to dry, and then place it back in its spot. But otherwise, I have burnt plants by doing that before. So I just typically now wait till the night, spray it, and that way I know in the morning it's dry and nothing to worry about. That goes there. That plant will be there. I need to get a cover pot for it. Actually, I think I have a cover pot right here if I can get this cactus out. Yep, got myself. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. Yep, that works. There we go. Good enough. Now I just need this giganteum here, which I think I'm going to pot up and put on a moss pole at a later date. So for right now, I'm just going to put him back here. He'll get light from both lights, and then I'll pot him up. This needs to go in my cabinet over here, or shelving unit, so it can grow. Definitely like to style my plants and add pictures and things around them, so it's not just a bunch of plants. Might make it look more cluttered, but I do tend to like it better. All right, I think that looks a lot nicer and cleaner up top, and I feel like it's low to high. Does that make sense? But because it was all just like the same height and really overgrown feeling, but this feels better at the moment. There are no weird moss poles up there too. Moss poles really bother me, but they really work. And especially the plants that I have, they're kind of needed if I want to grow them well. So, okay, I think that that's good. I need to go through all these shelving units, which I'll bring you a little closer for that. Okay, so right here is a Syngonium Willendii, I think, and it propagations of, I don't even know, Pink Princess, White Knight, and Epiprimnum Marble. I guess I can share those. They're just my little propagations right here. So you can see all of them. I don't mind them being there. I probably will keep them there because there's definitely not much room in my greenhouse at the moment. This plant needs light and also needs to be repotted already. I purchased this a couple weeks ago, and they definitely like to be well watered. They do not like to dry out, and I need to solve that issue by putting it in a different pot. I like Syngonium. I've had a lot of Syngonium, but there are some that are harder to take care of than others. my elbow is very easy to take care of. This one is seemingly very difficult to take care of. It is a velvet leaf and it's very beautiful, but I have noticed that velvet leaf, anything, just are more difficult to care for. And it really shouldn't be under that highlight because it just dries out even faster. But I don't really know where to put it because it needs that highlight. It likes the highlight, just dries out too quickly. So I'm probably going to pop this up because we leave for out of town this weekend. And if I leave this, last time I left it on vacation earlier this summer, it was wilted by the time I got back. So I'm going to repot that today. I will put this contraption back under that light and just let them grow. They are growing well and they're rooting nicely in there. Actually has a growth point there. That's a new leaf. Is there a growth point on this one? Okay. This is the new fan I need to install if I get to that today. So I'm already, who knows how long into this. I have so many jars of shells. Ugh, this is getting algae. Needs to be washed off or honestly just probably thrown away. But we'll do that in secret when no one's watching. All right, moving on to the next one. So I have these split up where it's like, you know, in this checkered pattern of lights. So in this cubby is my Monstera aurea and a lot of propagations. So there's a ton of propagations here that need to be potted up. As you can see, the roots are all formed nicely. This is the top cutting of my Monstera aurea, and it has a new growth point right here, or, you know, it's growth point. Yeah, it is a growth point. Now, I don't particularly like having propagations sitting behind a plant like that, but I don't know where I'm going to do with this. I have my punch needles. These are some of like my testers I need to put somewhere else. Great, moving on to the next side. This right here has my tortum philodendron, and this is a really difficult plant for me to grow. I just can't figure out its care and get it to go past 3 leaves. There is a new growth point on it. It's been there forever. Pretty sure it's probably died off by now. Who knows? It's down right there. But it's a really big bummer because I think that they're such incredibly unique plants, obviously, by looking at them. But I just can't seem to figure out its care needs. I'm just checking it for pests, but I don't see anything. I do see a lot of extra floral nectaries, but it's pretty normal on a lot of my philodendron. But if anybody has any tips for this guy, I'd be interested in hearing them. And these are just a bunch of propagations that have been sitting back there. I just recently cut these, so there's no regrowth. This is just a bunch of nonsense down here I need to get rid of. This is my Ploumani philodendron. I really like it. I need to repot it probably. It doesn't like being in a tight space. Has seen some stress because I forget to water it. And that's how I also know it needs to be repotted because I'm watering it way too often. Hi, this is just a propagation mess of pothos, golden pothos that need to be repotted. And this is my other cutting of my Monstera aurea, or one of the other cuttings. I have several, and it needs to be watered. This I really want in my cabinet, but I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can fit it in there. And really cool brass gardening set that has been just hidden back there at the moment. Okay, feel like I've got all of that cleaned out. That mirror's much better. And everything put back in its place. I'm going to keep this up here. It'll be fine. It's propagation. And this guy, I need to figure out where to put him, but I need to pot him up first. And so where are you going to go, buddy? You'll just go right here for now because I don't want to put him under that grow light. It's just going to suck the water out of him even more. And I think that that's good for right now. Hold on. Okay, so I have a fan that I need to replace in here at the top, and so I'm just going to do that right now, I guess. This is actually a computer fan. Okay, this is actually a computer fan. It had metal on it. I took that off. That way it wouldn't rust. This is all plastic. And so the fan I have in there currently is metal. So that's what happened. It rusted out and it wouldn't spin anymore. And so I'm hoping that this one does better. So we're going to replace that. Careful, please. Yeah, so it just rusted out. You can see it all there. You need to water all these. This one will probably have to be replaced soon too, because it is starting to rust, but not as bad as the other one. Okay, now let's put this guy in because I don't know how I'm going to get it in. I need zip ties or something to tie it up with. Okay, we're going to see if this works. I've got one on either end and I'm just going to try to. This is going to be really hard with this. Okay, that'll be easier. I keep getting myself on the sandy light. Fancy lights are hot. FYI. Okay, and this has an on and off switch, which is definitely what you want if you have a fan, lights, or anything in your cabinet, because you don't want them to turn off. Oh no. Turn off if you have an automated system, lighting system. Oh, that's gonna hit. Oh my gosh, this guy is so fast. Okay, I feel like we'll take my finger off. Definitely plants leaves. Quiet. Okay, good. That is in there and going. It's in the middle. We'll see how that does because it's not creating the airflow that I was hoping it would. People recommended these because of their IKEA greenhouses, so I might end up having to shut this and enclose it, and that might help it. But I mean, the leaves are shaking, and that's a good sign. So we'll wait and see how that does. And I need to water in there, but that's going to be a later project. This is really fun. So because it's been so hot in there, my Periso Verde has actually finally started getting back the variegation that it is known for. They take like 80 degrees. It has to be pretty stable for them to get that variegation, but you can see where it was not in a greenhouse and in a high heat situation to where it was. It's pretty exciting. All right, so I feel like I accomplished everything I was going to accomplish in here. Now I need to switch it over to the bedroom and finish placing my plants like in their spots. So this dark area is the bedroom, and we're back in here. So I've already cleared off the shelf. Maybe I'll move it because the lighting is terrible. This is the shelf. So I had a bunch of stuff over here. You saw it earlier. I'm going to wipe it all down. My Syngonium elbow is going to go on this side, and we'll see how well it does. My elbow here. This is a southwest facing window, so you can see it gets pretty good light. Obviously, the closer you get to the window, it's going to be better. But I have a lot of smaller plants sitting over here, and it's just going to take away the light from them if I place it there. So I'm going to place it back here. We'll see how it does. If it starts to deteriorate, I will move it. But this plant was in here at the beginning. It did sit right here. I actually got this in a 2-inch pot as well. So it's grown a lot, and it's a very fast grower. But if it does start to decline, I will move it closer to the window and find a new spot for it. This is a reverted Monstera albo that I got for free. It's just a little guy that I've kept growing in this pot that needs to be repotted. Everything needs to be repotted right now. This is another part of my larger Monstera Stanleyana. It has an all-white leaf that's probably going to die off, and it's got another all-white leaf coming out that will again die off. And this is my smaller Stanleyana elbow that used to sit right here, but I think I'm going to put it underneath one of my shelves because it is a more compact, flat-lying plant. It doesn't grow up unless you put it on a moss pole. It's trailing, as you can see. And then again, my Clarinevrum Anthurium, I'm definitely going to put him in the window because I don't want to move this guy. He's such a fun plant. I really love him, and I want him to grow even more. This is a mini Enjoy Pothos. I had it as a cutting, and it's grown to this. It's doing really well. So that's the setup. And then my King Beechii goes on this little stand, and it's going to be right there. And so now I'm going to focus on the lower half. All right, I accidentally clicked pause, so hopefully I didn't just lose that. But we are going to do the lower half. I have everything up top ready. I have a mutant Mandula here. I have a Ring of Fire that definitely needs to be repotted. It's been in here forever. I have a terrarium that's growing a Maranta cutting and some String of Hearts cuttings that are doing extremely well. Propagations in here. So I'm going to put my Stanleyana up here. They're probably right back here. And I have a really big neon philodendron, a bunch of propagations, and a Ficus shibariana that probably also needs to be repotted. I'm going to take my Peperomia Gold Dust and put it here. Then I have my other variegated String of Hearts right here, my variegated Heteroseum or philodendron, partly philodendron. And then I have a Hoya that I don't really know. It's a cutting from a friend who gave it to me from her grandma's mother plant that had been alive apparently for like 50 years. And I have a Florida Ghost right here. I have a lot of cuttings from my my Scindapsus aurea here, and then my regular Scindapsus. Then I have some nice wet stick propagations from my Monstera aurea, the long one. And I have some Epiprimnum and Esqueleto cuttings in here. This is my Scindapsus that I cut all of those cuttings that you saw right there off. And then this is a propagation jar that needs to be repotted. I have a crocodile philodendron down here, or a yellow, whatever we want to call this, yeah, golden crocodile. And then I just have this bottom shelf that's kind of a random plant selection. This is gonna hide back here. This is my Mandula pothos. This is what's left of my Melanochrysum. It lives in here and does well. And this is my Kalanchoe that's dying off that I haven't watered, and it needs to probably just go outside. And that's what I'm gonna do with it. This is bottom shelf is kind of where I just put plants that I don't really want to look at, like this and this. I'll just put it like that now. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, I think that was really it because everything else is fine here. I need to replace my King Vicia at the top, but I rearranged a lot of my plants here and got rid of some stuff down here, which is always a good thing. We'll see how long it lasts like this. Do we approve of it, Lawson? Okay, that was it. We're all done. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and we will see you next time.